All right, so today's lesson we're doing 9.3 percents and decimals. First two sections of chapter 9, we dealt with percents and fractions, right? And even in our percent proportion, what do we have? Fractions when we're solving, right? It's proportions, two fractions, I do my cross products and I solve. So with percents and decimals, now I'm learning just the conversion between percents and decimals, which we actually have already done. And then I'm going to use that in 9.4 to solve the percent equation. So it kind of springboards into 9.4. Today is a lot of converting back and forth. Now, the biggest mistake that I see is when we're dealing with percents that look kind of funny, we tend to just try to convert to make them look right instead of following our rules. Or, you know, if looking right, I guess is the right word, I'm not sure. But you'll see more what I'm talking about in a second. Before we do that, I want to review just a couple concepts from 9.1 and 9.2. All right, so in our review, these first two questions, all you're doing is converting. I want 78% as a fraction in simplest form and 13/25 as a percent. Now, these last three problems, you're going to use your percent formula, which is what? What's your percent proportion formula? No. Is over of equals P over 100, or A over B equals P over 100. I don't care which one, but these three are using that formula to solve. 88% as a fraction, what? What is it? 39 over 50. What about 13/25? What would I multiply top and bottom by? What do I multiply top and bottom by? 25 times what equals 100? 4. So 13 times 4 is 52%. Whatever it takes to get it to 100, your denominator to 100, that's what you multiply top and bottom by. All right, so what percent of 600 is 180? Well, what am I solving for? Everybody, what am I solving for? P. I'm solving for P. What's my A value? Yes, what's my B value? Okay, so 600 is my B value. I don't know P. Cross products, P equals 30%. And who got 30% on the first one? 30%? Okay, so now do the next one. 18 is 45% of what number? So now you've seen one. Your setup, your cross products, and your answer. Now I want you to do the next one. Everybody's working on this one. 18 is 45% of what number? Okay, so did you set it up this way? 18 over B equals 45 over 100. Who set it up that way? Lowe's a head up. Mackenzie, did you do it? Yes, ma'am. All right, Noah, did you set it up? Okay, because it says of what number, I don't know B. 18 is my is. Do my cross products, what'd you get? 40. Yep, divide both sides by 45. Now, does it matter if I wrote it the other way? 1800 equals 45B? Would that matter? No, I'm still going to get the same answer. All right, so on the last one, what is? I don't know what is. Of 200, 200 goes on the bottom. 32 over 100, cross products, 64. All right, so that's what we learned in 9.1 and 9.2. Now in 9.3, we're going to be doing a lot of converting. Here's what I want you to remember. A percent, and this is more or less a reminder, but a percent is always out of what? We talked about earlier. It's always out of 100. What is that? That is a fraction. 48 over 100. Well, does a fraction show multiplication or division? Division. When you divide, do you make a number bigger or smaller? Smaller. So 48%, I need to make smaller by 2 decimal places. This part right here, 48 over 100, isn't even necessary to write because I know that it's out of 100, so I'm going to move my decimal to the left 2 places, making it smaller by 2 decimal places is the same thing as dividing by 100. Guys, we can do this mental math. That should be good news for those of you who don't like showing work, right? But what if I only have 1 digit in my percentage? How can I move it 2 decimal places? I don't have 2 digits. What do you need as a placeholder? A 0. So on B, this is 9%. The decimal goes after. I go 1, 2, but I need a 0 here. 0.09%. What if I said 0.9%? What percent would that, or 0.9? That's 90%. So 0.09, big difference, guys. That's 9%. Try to do C. 75.5%. Change it to a decimal. What's it going to be?
0.755.
All right, 0.755. All right, 0.755. Yes, exactly. So I just have 3 numbers in my decimal. That's no big deal. What if I had this, though? 320%. See, here's what starts happening. Now, our standard decimal is, 32%, that's 0.32. 23%, that's 0.323. What starts happening with our really, really big decimals, or percentages, is it starts messing with our head, okay? And we forget our rules. But whether it's a really, really big percentage or a really, really small percentage, I'm still making it smaller by 2 decimal places. I already heard the answer. I've got a decimal here, 1, 2. What's my decimal value going to be? 3.2. So how's it going to look with a really small number like 0.06%? 0.6, sorry. 0.6%. Change that to a decimal. 0.6% as a decimal. Where do I move my decimal place? To the left or to the right? To the left still. So it just makes my decimal value that much smaller. 0.006. Did you get that, Lexi? Deja, did you get that? What about this one? 0.032%. Change that to a decimal. All right, what's it going to be? 0.00032. So you see, guys, even if it's a small percentage, and every year I have someone try to say 3.2. They move the decimal the other way. When you're going percent to decimal, you're making it smaller. You're dividing. A percentage is over 100. It's dividing. 0.00032. Example 2, we're going the other way. Now we're going decimals to percents. So now we're taking a small number and we're making it bigger. 0.13 is going to be what as a percentage? Now we're making it bigger by 100. We're multiplying to get to 100 or to percent. So it's 13%. 13%. Try to do B and C. What will B be? No pun intended. What's B? 40%? 4%. 4%, because I moved my decimal 2 places. 4%. What about C?
2.7%.
Noah, did you get that? 2.7%? Andrew? 2.7%. Because I'm moving my decimal to the right 2 places when I'm going decimal to percent. What about that one? Change that decimal to a percent. What is it going to be, guys?
3%.
Oh, I forgot my 2. No, not 3. What? No, you only move it 2 decimal places. Here. So it's going to be 0.032%. Let me box that in. My arrow got in the way. Man, hold on. Let me back up. Let me erase my arrow. Okay, 0.032%. And let's box that in. 0.032%. Guys, you're still, decimal to percent, you're going right. Even though it still looks weird. You don't go all the way. You're not multiplying by 1,000. You only multiply by 100. You only move it 2 decimal places. It's still going to be just a really small percentage. What about this one? Write this one as a percent. Guys? 132%. You're making it bigger. Decimal to percent. You're moving your decimal to the right. 132%. Think about it. It's more than 1. It's got to be more than 100%. Write 2 as a percent. What is it? What is it, guys? Not 2. 200. Because again, I'm expanding by 2 decimal places. 200%. Questions, guys? The hardest part about this is keeping it straight. A percent to a decimal, I'm dividing, I move left. Decimal to percent, I'm multiplying, so I move right. You got to know it. You got to know it. All right, so that's example 2. In example 3, now I'm writing a fraction as a percent. In 9.1, my denominators were conveniently divisible by 100. Are these denominators divisible by 100? Is there a number that I can multiply them by to get my denominator to 100? An even number? No, there's not. So that method doesn't work. That's why even in 9.1 I showed you this method, because for me, I want a method that's going to work all the time. I don't like having to learn 2 methods because one of them only works part of the time. Right? Right, Mackenzie? Okay, look up here. All right. So 5/6, I'm going to change to a decimal. How do I change it to a decimal? What do I do? How do I change a fraction to a decimal? So all of these types of decimals are going to go out at least 4 decimal places. So here's what I want you to do. When you divide it on your calculator, write the first 4 decimals. Just write them. Okay, if 3 is repeating, you know it goes 3 through 3. And now you're going to look at this 4th decimal place, which is a 3. What would that 3 round, that 3 before it to? Just keep it 3. So we've got 0.833. We're going to round to the nearest thousandth. And now we're going to change it to a decimal. What would it be as a decimal? No. You went the wrong way. Change it to a percent. 83.3%. 83.3%. So here's what you have to show on your homework on this section. This is homework numbers 36 through 42. You've got to show your original problem, 4 decimal places, boxed answer. 3 steps on these questions. All right, I want you to change 3/7 to a decimal. Change 3/7 to a decimal. Okay, so 3/7 is what as a decimal? 0.4285. That's all. I only need to go 4. Okay, and then the 5 rounds the 8 to a what?
9.
So what is my answer as a percentage?
42.9%.
42.9%. All right, do C on your own. Make sure you round to the nearest thousandth and then change it to a percentage. What's my decimal value?
0.6923.
6923. So what happens to my 2?
It stays the same.
All right, 69.2%. Okay? 69.2%. All right, so that's it for example 3. Just make sure you do that on the section of your homework. Now in example 4, I just kind of want to revisit these kind of strange looking percents. Okay? 315% and 0.024%. Write these percents as decimals. So 315%, guys. Before you say anything, percent to a decimal, percent is dividing. I'm making it smaller. So what's it going to be? 3.15. 0.024%, I make it even smaller. I still move my decimal left 2 places. Who got them right? Yes, good. One person. Come on, guys, who got them right?
Oh, I did.
Couple more? Okay, good. All right. See, this one right here. All right. Every year, I have somebody say 2.4. Every year. Don't let that person be you, okay? Don't get this wrong. These should be gimmies. Percent to a decimal. Percent to a decimal. All right, example 5. Okay, example 5, word problems. What's a lesson without a word problem, right? Right? Okay. Total amount of water on Earth is 326 million cubic miles. We can't even wrap our head around how much water that is. 3/4 of the Earth is covered in water. You guys know that, right? Okay, so a lot of water. Of this amount, a very, very small percentage of the Earth's water supply is fresh water. So how much is that? Okay, whenever we're finding a percent of a total, okay, and in this case, it's really, really small percent. Wake up, wake up. Whenever I'm finding a percent of a number, I have to first change my percent to a what? Decimal. To a decimal. 0.009% as a decimal is what? How many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Okay? Because, again, percent to a decimal, I'm still dividing. I have to make it smaller. Now I multiply that by my total. In this case, it's just a really big number. Okay? But it's the same process. I multiply it by 326 million. And what value do I get? How much? 29,000 what? I don't have my calculator. 0.00009 times 326 million. No. 340. No, it is right. Cubic miles. Okay? That does make sense. When you're comparing it to 326 million, that's really, really small. Now, I mean, it's still a lot of water, but not compared to 326 million. Okay? So, guys, let's do one that's maybe on a smaller scale. When we're finding the percent of a number, we must change the percent to a decimal and multiply it by its total. I want you to read this word problem and solve. I want to know how many beats per minute his heart is beating when he's playing basketball. Okay, so what do you do? Anybody think they have an answer besides Deja? She just seems like she always has the answer. Blake?
His heart rate is, do you want me to tell you his heart rate?
Well, how did you find it? How did you find it? What did you do, guys?
Multiply 2.5 by...
Well, why 2.5? I see 250.
Well, you have to
You got it, yeah. You got to change it to a decimal. So, again, you take your total and you multiply it by the decimal version of that percentage. And what did you get? 180 what? Beats per minute. And if you just said beats, you know, that would be fine too. That's super high, guys. All right, so maybe he needs to tone it down a little bit. Well, it depends. In short, intense exercise, you know, getting your heart rate up that high maybe isn't a terrible thing, but you definitely don't want it that high all the time, right? Okay, so if you understand that, that's everything you need to know for 9.3.